people, you are welcome to another refreshing episode on the East Desire Show. I have with me in the house today the former Commissioner for Information and Orientation in Osun State. She's also the former Managing Director and Editor-in-Chief of the New Telegraph newspaper, a former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, and she has worked in several newspapers, including The Sun and The Punch. She is no other person than Mrs. Funke Egbemode. You're welcome on the show, ma'am.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. Okay, see, with this, your career spanning over 3 decades. Wow. With so many places you've gone, so many positions you have held, how would you describe your journey?
It's been a journey of favor. It's been about hard work. It's been about focus. Now about God's grace.
That's interesting. But you did mention passion. Passion is not one of them.
To stay focused on anything, you must have a passion for whatever it is you're focused on. I have always loved to write. I've always loved to express myself with words, and I was exposed to books, to stories very early, being the daughter of 2 teachers.
Wow.
So I started reading and writing very early because as a first child, I think my father just wanted to make a statement with the way he raised all of us. And being the first, I think he got it right when it came to reading and just wanting to be around books. And for a school teacher, I had a rich library. I always tell people that my first exposure to books was to the Ladybird series.
Okay.
I don't know if children, toddlers
Have that now.
Yes. The Ladybird series started with the one that helped you to count, and all the way to when you could piece words together into sentences and all of that. And then I moved on to, by the time I was in primary 4, I found that I could explore things outside of my school books. So I started reading for leisure. And I started reading for leisure that early. And that I'm able to express myself in the English language, it was not because I was exposed to the language specifically without the mother tongue. In actual fact, speaking English at home was not welcome. My father insisted that we spoke Yoruba. So I speak and write Yoruba as well as I write English.
Wow.
And my first set of books were also the D.O. Fagunwa series. All of them. Igbo Irunmole, Igbo Olodumare, Aditu Olodumare, the whole works. And then I noticed that he also had in his library the simplified editions of Charles Dickens, David Copperfield, and the rest of them. So I also read a lot of Shakespeare simplified versions by the time I was 11.
11?
Yes, there were simplified versions, not written in the King James's English, the Shakespearean English kind of thing. And so I just enjoyed reading. And then I discovered certain writers that I wanted to be with. I wanted to write like them. And so the passion grew very early. Unconsciously, my father didn't know he was raising somebody who would write.
He just wanted all of us to speak and write good English. And that was it. I'm just providing a background for the passion.
Yes, very interesting background. Okay, so you would say that you don't have any regrets practicing journalism?
None whatsoever. No regrets. No regrets. There are things I'll say that, I wish I had done this better. But journalism gave me more than it took. Okay, so in balancing everything, I think this is a path that God chose. Otherwise, the bumps on the road would have tripped me, would have discouraged me. I'm not saying there weren't moments of, I'm tired, I want to slow down, I want to get out of here. Yeah, there were times I considered advertising. There were times that I said, I'm just tired. This is also long winding and full of storms. But because God has been part of that journey, the storms didn't last. And then God kept me in those moments of storm. So I'll say regret can't be the word. For if I felt anything negative about journalism, it's not regret.
Nice. Okay, so journalism has always been the passion. It has been your first love. That's what you always wanted to do.
No,
Okay. What did you want to do?
I just wanted to write.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to write. Now, my English language teacher in secondary school was an Indian.
Indian.
Yes, Mrs. Alexander.
Oh, wow.
And she said to have A1 in English, you need to write an essay a day.
You did?
Yeah, so I wrote an essay a day. I actually made A1 in English. And so also trying to write started not just because I wanted to express myself, I also wanted to make A1 in English.
Okay.
And it actually worked. So when I finished my O-levels, I continued to write essays. The red letter day, the accident I'll never forget, my first day after school, after holidays and all of that, I kept on writing based on the YX syllabus as guided by Mrs. Alex. Even when Mrs. Alex was no longer there, I just continued writing. I think it was in moving from one place to the other over the years that I lost my bundle, because I wrote it like in an big exercise book, and I was able to, yes, because I wanted to also use it to encourage my siblings and anybody close to me then that it's possible to make A1 in English. The formula for me was write an essay a day. It wasn't difficult. It was not going to take more than an hour of your day, and there are 24 hours in a day. So in secondary school, I moved on from all the books I had in Daddy's library to the Pace Setter series, James Hadley Chase series, and then there was another romance series. Then I can't quite remember now. And Meals and Bones for me came after O levels. Right after O levels, I moved on to Meals and Bones, and then the serious American writers, British writers, and I just discovered that I loved Sidney Sheldon. And of all the writers, he actually was the one I wanted to write like. I still admire him till today. The sharp sentences, I still love them. So it was because I wanted to write. The passion started from there. But as for journalism coming into it, it wasn't my first love. Because I am a teacher's daughter, failing any subject at all wasn't an option. So you got kicked, you got knocked for failing any subject. So by the time I was what we called Form 4, I think it's now SS2. I was still confused whether I was an art student or a science student. So I wrote even 9 subjects for WAEC instead of, most people wrote 8. I wrote 9. 9 is at least then it was the maximum number of subjects you could write because I was doing well in the sciences. Until towards the end, in my final year, when I think they changed, my math teacher got a job in the bank, and then they brought this very troublesome Ghanaian teacher, and I told myself, if I was no longer doing physics, chemistry, biology, what did I need math for? And so I lost interest in math. Because I never failed it until then, until the final year. I just decided, okay, so let me move away from French and math. And I had to choose. Maybe I would have dropped any other subject, but of course I couldn't drop Yoruba unless I had found somebody who would pay my school fees. So it was just fate. It was just God's order that I got into journalism. I was doing my youth service in Ilorin. I served at Ilorin. I was a nurse tutor at the School of Nursing and then later in the School of Midwifery. And I was in Lagos just for a short break and then decided to stop over to see my cousin at the Prime People magazine. He was the production manager. And I went into his office and he said, come, let me introduce you to the general manager. Come, let's go to the editor's office. And the GM and the GM is still alive. He's in his 80s now. Kulusakagbo, the editor, a Sierra Leonean, has died. He died while we were still on the job in Prime People. They gave me my first assignment. They just told me to go and research something I had to. And I had 24 hours or so to do it. I did the research, I brought it back, and they were impressed. And then they asked if I wanted to join them. I said, yes, I like what I read. I like what I see. So, and I became a freelancer. Just like that. That was how I got into journalism. I returned to Ilorin to complete my youth service, but I was already a freelancer. Yeah, so I was already doing stories for them. And I had an automatic job.
Interesting journey indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that you write a lot about marriages and relationships and all that. Mm-hmm. So what would you say the marriage institution is today? How would you view the marriage institution today?
It has gone through years of a lifetime, many lifetimes of bashing, trial and error, cultural changes, behavioral changes. Everything has happened to marriage. Marriage has become like technology. I was rearranging some parts of the house yesterday and I saw the video cartridge or something of my 40th birthday. And I carried it and said, what am I going to do with it now?
How are you going to watch it? VHS?
So I called my son, who is in tech.
Okay.
Said, okay, we'll see if we can convert if you want to watch again. That's what has happened to marriage. too many things. Constant changing world. Forcing itself to constantly change marriage. What was marriage in the Garden of Eden is not what marriage is today. So everything has happened to marriage, just the way we used to have album, and then we went to cartridge, car radio, car cassettes. We went to diskettes, and all of that. That's the way, when you pass by some places, for people like me, when I see signages of something that has rank zeros in it, rank zeros used to be huge. But what was rank zeros doing that you and I can't do now in this studio? So marriage has changed. Depends on which part of it we want to talk about. I mean, it's been a lifetime, many lifetimes of change.
Yeah. But would you say that it's still serving its purpose?
Marriage has a purpose, and does not matter how we look at it. We can rearrange our focus. We can rearrange our priorities. The gap for marriage will always be there. It was created for companionship. God created it for companionship. Trust me, man was not created
to be alone. I understand that.
And for as long as a man or a woman doesn't have a constant companion, certain things will be missing, certain things will go wrong.
Yes.
I stand to be corrected. But that's the way I see it. You cannot buy companionship in the most expensive retail shop. You cannot manufacture companionship. You can't wish it away. Everybody needs somebody else. Yeah. To complete you, to complete your journey, to complete your point of view. You'll be shocked that you can talk about coffee, you can talk about biscuits in a different way if you're talking about it with somebody else. In fact, you will see a cup of drink, a glass of wine. You will describe that glass of wine in extra sentences because you're discussing it with somebody else. We all need that companionship, and marriage provides it in whatever form you find it. It's cobbled together. Companionship is something that marriage brings, that will always leave a gap, a gaping hole when it is missing in anybody.
Okay, I understand that marriage gives you companionship, but do you have to be married to have a companion? Or is there, what I'm trying to say is that, okay, like we said that marriage has changed and all that. Does marriage need to be modified?
Apart from being a woman, even if I'm a modern woman, I'm still a Christian. I still believe that marriage is a Christian institution. Because that's the way I was raised. It's a Christian institution. I will continue to advocate that marriage remain marriage. And for as long as the two people involved, or three people, or four people, polygamy is a reality of our situation. As long as the people...
Of our situation. I think it was even on from Bible days.
No. Today, we are now coming from another lifetime of thinking marriage is for two people. The society, the church made us believe that there is something called white wedding. Although I've tried to search for white wedding in the Bible, I haven't found where it is.
Neither have I.
But in Redeemed Christian Church of God, where I'm a member, you are still not married, even if you have one white, until you have done traditional marriage. If you don't have the consent of your parents,
yes.
if the two families are still have not given their blessings the traditional way, you're still not married. So white wedding,
That's the real marriage.
yes, white wedding, everything. We're just coming out of it and considering polygamy. So for as long as the people involved in this institution are not on the same page about why they are in marriage, there will be trouble. Most of the time, the people involved in marriage are not on the same page as to why they are there, what they want. They're not honest from the get-go. We're seeing it everywhere. You just find out that, for me, the problem is somebody who is going to Onitsha is on the same bus with the person going to Oyo. And there's no way there won't be clash on that journey. Because the two of them are going to try to tell the driver or grab the steering wheel from each other. I think it's just about the people involved being honest about why they're there and being determined to make it work. Unless you are determined to make a marriage work. It does not want to work.
I like that. It does not want to work.
No,
The marriage itself
because
does not want to work.
yeah, because it's hard work.
It is hard work. I also think that a lot of people get into marriage for the wrong reasons. Especially now.
Tell me
I don't
about
know,
it.
especially now, everybody is, in a rush. Would I call it a rush? Or they are desperate for certain titles and positions. And then a woman is made to feel like she's not complete except she's married, or except you've attained that status. So some people just get into marriage just to be called a missus.
I think it is people my generation that can complain about wanting the title. The Gen Zs,
Gen Zs definitely those
they are in
a
a
different species.
yeah.
I'm even begging them to get married. If they even get married.
And the ones who want to marry, even in every generation, in every age bracket, people have always married for the wrong reasons. It's not new to 2001 or 2024. Too many of us pick our partners for all kinds of different reasons. It still comes back to, can we just be honest while we're boarding this bus? Are we headed in the same direction? Do we want to do the same thing on this journey? Are we going to stop over somewhere to have lunch? Are we going to shop while we're on this journey? Just be honest. And then there are those, these days you find, okay, before I get to these days, you find also those who marry because they think marriage solves problems.
Yes.
Or it's a solution to the challenges they're facing.
Exactly.
What will the society say if I don't get married? A friend of mine, I'll never forget, I said, we're gisting on the phone, and I said, I don't know what the society will say if I do this thing. He said, I can't tell you what the society will say. Now, I became very attentive. I thought he was going to tell me something very profound. It proved to be profound because I've not forgotten. I think he told me this on phone around 2009 or 2010, and I've not forgotten. He said, Funke, when it's about midnight, turn off everything that has noise in your house. Make sure you are the only one there. So I was listening. And then he said, when you are sure that everywhere is quiet, then call out society. Society. Let's have a talk. Then society will tell you what you need to hear. Because there's nobody called society. The point was, I will still be alone when everything is quiet. When I need
Good point.
peace, I will still be alone. The decision is still
Yes.
mine.
Yeah.
So if you marry because you have landlord issues, that I'm tired of looking for rent every year. You're just looking for a landlord. What you need is a landlord that will not collect salary. You do not need a husband.
Exactly.
And when you find a husband, along with you are no longer paying rent, I hope you also know that having a husband comes with its own challenges.
Exactly.
Marriage comes,
demands.
yes, marriage comes with challenges you had never heard of. You are never seen. Most of the time, challenges that you're not prepared for. So you cannot marry because you want to solve rent issues. You want the society not to say something.
You want to make other people happy. Your family, for instance.
Why should everybody be happy if you are going to be miserable? They have no right. So I'll say, don't marry for the wrong reasons. Today's kids, I'm engaged. The ring thing, the proposal thing. They make the proposal these days feel like it's very important. The photo shoot, engagement photo shoot, pre-wedding photo shoot, after-wedding photo shoot, pregnancy photo shoot. Everything is about being in everybody's face.
Yes.
And when the people in whose faces you're flaunting stuff have gone, it will remain you and your thoughts,
Definitely.
the quietness where society won't answer. It is still about you. And then when I attend weddings, the only part that I enjoy is the solemnization. It's only in church or during a car that there's any kind of solemn assembly touch. Once you get to the reception, it's like the bride, the groom, everybody, the bride and the groom have decided that we're shooting a movie and we're the lead actor and lead actress. It's like a huge performance. The solemn touch disappears, and it makes me think that, do these people even know what this evening will be like? Because marriage starts in the evening. Once the dancing stops, the reality begins. The wedding is different from the marriage. And you see too many things happening too quickly, too often. Things that just break your heart. This sweet girl goes into depression. This sweet man that you thought was going to be everything better than his dad, just become one sad fellow. One human being just wants to stay at work and not go home. And he's acting out because he's unhappy. Now he has more girlfriends than his grandfather has wives. So, going into marriage for the wrong reasons is one of the major things wrong with the marriage situation now.
Okay. Sometimes I also feel like people get into marriage with unrealistic expectations.
Like the rent thing. Like you think that the guy will always be able to pay rent. What if he doesn't want to pay rent?
Or you think that everything will go well, like the way it is now, the lovey-dovey before the marriage. You think that, okay, the whole duration of the marriage is going to be that way. Every day is going to be the same. You're going to be all over each other and all that. But it usually doesn't happen, and then that starts to...
It will never happen like that.
Never.
Life is not cut and dried. Life itself is not predictable. Okay, so you buy a brand new Prado. It's going to ride like it's brand new every day? No.
That's true.
You move into a brand new house in Banana Island. It's going to remain brand new. There are no challenges with living in Banana Island. There are.
Yeah, they are.
So, for me, that brings us to the issue of parenting. Failure of parenting is also major in what marriages have become. It's like we parents set up our children up for failure. It's not just it's not just about them. These children, we are caretakers. Are we actually taking care of them? The energy, the devotion that parents put into putting their children through school, they do not do it with getting them ready for the rest of their lives. Go get your certificates. You must make your A-levels.
You must do masters. Those are the important things.
You must go abroad. In fact, today it is starting with, I don't want my baby to be born in Nigeria. Look at what goes into having a baby abroad. Do we put that, half of that, even in Naira and Kobo, in preparing our daughters and our sons for marriage? Failed parents, I keep saying it, that there should be a failed parents tribunal. They should drag all of us there. Let's go and explain how we raise, how we end up with kids that are like this. Because they didn't raise themselves.
They did raise themselves, but then you know the parents too. How do I put it? We are all in this parenting thing for the first time. No one has been a parent before.
Someone raised you. She also. He also. They were doing it for the first time. Do we? The right values have always been there.
Yeah, the right
Are
values.
we inculcating the right values into them? Are we letting them realize that it's a changing world and that their fathers married us for a reason? Those reasons have changed. So the reason my son will marry his wife is also different. Because the world has changed, have you prepared your boy to become a man? To become the head of the family? To become the priest of his family? A man who does not pray, does not go to church, does not go to the mosque, if that is the way he was raised, you cannot blame his wife for his failings. Somebody raised him that way. I believe that parents are not doing enough. I believe so. And I have tons of examples of failed parents. I mean, take an instance. When a man sends his wife to have a baby abroad, or they'll put money together to have a baby in Canada, they will either have a male child or a female child, or have twins. When these children are also going to school, your daughter will have either a male or a female sitting beside her. And when they're writing A-levels, your son will see there are a lot of girls in the exam hall. So he goes to medical school, sees that it's not a school for boys. There are also girls there. So have you prepared your son that he can't find a wife who will cook for him 3 times? Have you prepared your daughter for life as a wife and as a mother and as a female engineer? Have you told her what it means? Or your son just goes into marriage because mommy always cooks, his wife must cook? When all his friends were marrying those who were close at 2 o'clock, he chose a chemical engineer. That comes with a different set of arrangement. So I think that parents are not doing enough to prepare their children. He's cheating on me. It's some sing-song. I don't want to go too much into that. But it's because Sometimes, in fact, almost every time, we do not even sit our children down and explain cheating.
How?
I put it on my Facebook a few days ago and said, if a woman has did not in maybe 10 years, 17 years, no sexual relations with any other man but her husband, but has built 2 houses without telling her husband, is she still faithful? No, she's not. She's cheating. Because faithfulness is not just about physical nakedness. What you have done is also cheated on your husband. Okay, people replied and said there are reasons why women hide their fortunes from their husband.
Yes.
And that is another topic. How did mommy raise Oga that whose wife cannot tell that she has property? Everything is interwoven. Parenting, we must take parenting more seriously than, oh, my son made the first class in law school. Okay. Did you see the number of people who made first class? So it's not huge. It's not huge.
You want to burst the bubbles of most parents.
No, we are not doing enough. I'm also a parent.
I agree with you. That's true. We are not doing enough. But I also want to say that, some of these parents themselves, they are not having the best of marriages as well. There are even some that are single parents. So how do you explain that? Because as a single parent, you only do the best that you can.
No. You will do exactly what the Lord commands you to do.
Which is?
To be a full-time caretaker of your children.
Okay. Let's say...
And you lose those children by the time they are 13. It's not when they are 16 and 25.
That you now want exactly. You have to start...
By the time your child is 14, the battle is almost lost.
Yes, I agree.
In Yoruba, I say, Ọmọ tí ò bẹ̀rù ẹ at age 14. You can't make him prostrate at 25. Oh. He doesn't know what reverence is. He doesn't know what respect is. It goes beyond sir. I didn't raise my children, for instance, to say sir or ma. When I call you, say yes, mommy, or you say yes, daddy. Because yes, sir, or anything. That's the way I was raised. But for me, it's about respect, but it should also be about bonding. Yes, mommy is more about bonding with your mom than the sir. But your child must still know that when you're coming in, he cannot continue to sit in the same chair with newspapers thrown on the floor and they throw pillows also on the floor. He must be afraid to let you find the living room dirty. That your marriage failed is reason enough for you to raise children whose marriages won't fail. Because now you have practical experience of happy marriage and then sadness when it failed. You've learned something that those who are still married probably haven't learned.
But in a marriage, and especially with raising children, there's the place of the mother and there's the place of the father. So in a situation where the father is not on the scene, would there not always be a void? Because as a woman, you can only perform your motherly duties and of course you try your best to cover up both parts, but does it really work? At the end of the day, does it not leave a gap, a void in the children, that place of a father, the role of a father?
A gap. It does not have to be a void. It doesn't have to be that huge.
Okay.
You just do your best to teach these children what they need to know. I mean, come on, let's look at it the way we were raised. What were the daddies doing? Most of the raising of children is left to mothers. Is it our mothers that taught us to cook or our daddies? For me, I'm lucky. Those of us in my age bracket probably got fathers who taught us to cook. You know that my father is still alive. My mother has passed. But there are still things that I want to cook, and my mother has been gone now 4 years. The first time I picked a phone, I had forgotten she was gone. I wanted to cook something. I had forgotten which vegetable to use. No. I was in Ghana. I didn't know whether I was supposed to boil the cocoyam leaf or just cut it. And then when I remembered, I asked Daddy. And he said, no. You just cut and put there. There are things my daddy taught me to do. We still have that bond, But most fathers are just providers of money.
Exactly.
Most children went to the mosque, went to Asalatu with their mummies. The daddies are usually around maybe for Ramadan, to eat in the night, on the early hours, and women have always done the heavy lifting. So if you end up a single mother, it's even easier for you than the single fathers. Those ones are they still have to. They're not domesticated enough. I don't think men are really, really wired to fill our gaps. We fill their gaps better than they can fill. So whatever it is that you saw was missing or whatever broke your marriage, just teach your children to ensure that same thing does not make them trip, does not make them fall, does not ruin their relationship. Let's be realistic with children. We need to be realistic. These days they say that women are leaving their marriages because their husbands are cheating. And then they end up being ex-wives and graduating to becoming side chicks who more men are cheating with. And it is the truth. You can't leave your husband
because he cheated. You don't think it's basis for living?
Never, ever will I think so. For me, it's an acceptance of defeat. It is ceding my territorial integrity. It is not protecting my space. No. I don't think I'm going to marry again, and then because one man has cheated, I will now live for one stray bullet, one tiny girl, one other woman just comes and takes my space. No. The way soldiers protect territorial integrity of the nation is the way wives should protect the territorial integrity of their marriages. Don't leave because your husband has a girlfriend. Get your man back.
How?
I don't know.
What if he's a serial cheater? It doesn't come to a point where it takes you for granted because you are taking it.
I won't tell you everything on this one. On another edition, we will.
A few.
No, anybody who has been reading me for years knows my views on serial cheaters, how to deal with a cheating husband, how to hold your own when you are being cheated on. Oh, you think the guys don't have blood flowing in their veins? God. Treats. Look for what will hurt him and do.
Wow.
They will come back home.
I don't think a woman should leave her home because of cheating anyway. I don't think so, because I think
the marriage,
as you are leaving, somebody else is ready to pack in. So
and make my children bona fide owners of their father's house, stepchildren.
Exactly.
No way. My children are not becoming stepchildren just because the man can't keep his zip up. No. It's their home. I'll keep it for them.
Wow. Another topic. Another topic on this one. So let's go back to people getting into marriage for wrong reasons and ending up quitting the marriage. And I've realized these days that sometimes it's not even just how long, because I've heard of situations where people are married for long and you think, because when you hear that someone's been married for 20 years
and they're divorced,
yes, you feel like you got nuts that they got it right, and then you just hear that they divorced. You be wondering, like, why would you stay with someone for so long and then divorce the person? Like, So what have you been doing all this while?
Well, I think it was that Saturday I wrote about when marriage becomes life-threatening. Sometimes you think you can't take it, and then you ride out many storms, and then you get tired. You don't just want to ride out the storm. You just want to watch it blow over. And then it gets to a point where you don't want to be part of the storm any longer. Unless you talk to those who quit marriages that have been on for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, why they quit, you will never fully understand, because you cannot use the manual of a Toyota to drive a Mercedes Benz. So these things happen. They're not common, but they do happen. It's not common to find somebody who's been married for 20 years, 30 years, calling it quits. It's not common, but they happen. It's not a common thing, because the Yorubas will say that when a woman has been a wife for too long, she's a witch. It is because she has seen it all.
Yeah.
You can no longer rattle her cage. You can no longer threaten her. It gets to a point where your husband says, I'm not coming home. If you do not do this, I'm not coming home. You just tell him, just stay safe out there.
Just be safe.
Just come back in one piece. And then you call his driver. Hope everything is fine. Is Daddy okay? Daddy is okay. So they think you're a witch. You're just tired of running after somebody because he has a condom he hasn't used. Let him go and use it and come back.
Recently I heard of a man who divorced his wife after their last child got married. And that's even a man, not like a man. After waiting so long, and it's not their first child or their last child. He waited until their last child got married, and the next day he filed for a divorce. So I'm like, what happened? What was he waiting for?
I would like to hear the story.
You also hear this Alakija, I hear that they've been married for 30 years or more. So I'm wondering, like, what could have happened now? Because you don't even see this type of marriages often, like, oh, the woman is so successful, and she has a home, she's married, her home is seemingly happy, everything is going well and all that, and then it's like a shock, and you just hear that he's on the block. So you begin to wonder, okay, why? Because sometimes the society makes us to believe that women who are successful, they don't have happy marriages, they don't know how to keep a man, they don't know how to keep a home and all that. So when you find a woman who has stayed that long in marriage and is still successful, you wonder, you are it's a good thing to see that, oh, this can actually work.
It does actually work.
But then you now wake up.
You cannot focus on the ones that didn't work. You can't focus on the ones that didn't work. Because if two people have been married for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, decide to part ways, you need to listen to them. They are a book. That marriage must be an entire book. And Mrs. Alakija is like a big sister. So this still hurts. And whatever happens in a marriage, only those who are in there can tell the story. And you see, the way we are, we don't always tell our stories. So I don't think we should focus on why marriages fail. Let's focus on why marriages work. And there must be a reason why the man who left his wife or filed for divorce after their last child got married waited that long. We need to also hear a side of the story. And let me reiterate once again that You cannot let the society decide how you live your life, especially if you think you're doing what is right. Because at the end of the day, you're on your own. Is it not because what would the society say that women and men die in abusive marriages? Physical or emotional abuse. It's because the parties are afraid to protect themselves from the society. So we need to do what is right. And there are plenty of marriages working. And for marriages that are broken up, let's find out how they were able to paddle that canoe. 20 years, 30 years. What did they do? Every day is hard work in marriage. So my friend will say, enjoy the day that your husband brings plenty of joy to you. Enjoy it to the fullest. It will help you to survive the days that he brings trouble. You can now look back and say, you will come back. Those sweet days will come back. But if you think it's going to be smooth, they do. Unless you are in the vehicle with the wrong person. And that you are not supposed to be passengers on the same bus. If you are with the right, you must quarrel with your own brother. You quarrel with your mother. So you quarrel now. This is what I tell couples that are close to me. That you have quarreled, please finish it on time. Settle it so there will be room for the next quarrel. So we will not add this one to the next one. Let's just end this one now. Because we will quarrel again. If you are quarreling over is taking my children to schools that I can't afford, you're still going to quarrel over what to do on graduation day. So let's finish this one now. Because this your wife is likely to want to invite to take a shwebi for graduation. So let's sort this one out. And enjoy the good moments. Enjoy the good moments. Once a man is not doing anything that threatens your life, don't center your happiness around what a man or your wife does. Come on. Get a life too. Yeah. Get hard. Get a career. Focus on the business. Get involved in charity. Everything. Like I said, let's not say everything.
Okay, so I know that one of the, I say the most important, or one of the major reasons that marriages have issues, where there are problems in marriages, is sex. So what is the problem with sex? Why is it that before people get married, when they are courting and all that, you're actually begging them not to have sex, they want to have all the sex and blah blah blah. But when they now get into the marriage, they are not even having sex at all. Sometimes I hear people say they are living in the same house, on the same bed, and they have not had sex in 6 months.
3 years.
Husband and wife. How is that possible?
It is.
Why is that?
Because in courtship, you're trying to toast each other. And then reality sets in from after the reception. I say that if you want, it is only men that wake up with an erection.
Yes, so I've always said that.
Women do not wake up with sexual arousal.
At all. Please.
You're waking up and you're like, oh God, the alarm just went off. It's 5 a.m. Oh, I wish.
What things you have to do.
Yes, you need to go and get the kids out of bed, and they don't want to get out of bed. And it is at that time that bros is rubbing your back.
Exactly.
And you are like, are you okay at all? Is everything okay? Do you think this thing is food? Please. And then it takes offense. So you have to sort that fight out, because that fight, you will fight it again.
You will.
Sex should be used to cement relationships. In marriage, it should be a weapon of unity. I also don't see anything wrong in using it as a weapon of negotiation. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Men negotiate with it all the time. So why can't I negotiate with it with my man? What exactly do you want? How exactly do you want it? If you have good behavior, you get the 5-star treatment. But these attitudes since morning, 1 star. Wham, bang, thanks, ma'am. You're done. You can turn it into fun, into a joke, into a... But men don't know that women are not physical. I tell people that...
They should know by now.
Well, maybe their parents did not also tell them that you cannot have... Okay, you can have sex. You cannot make love to a woman that is unhappy. She's just walking. For her, it is perfunctory. Let's just do it and get it over with. And there are women who don't want to do it as duty. Just hold your side and hold my side of the bed. It's just about communication. A man's sexual organ is situated outside his body. For a reason. Ours is not situated outside the body. It's deep in our body because we are not just physical. We're deep. A man's organ is an island. I call it an autonomous community. That thing has a mind of its own. Our own, we have to think about whether we are happy or we're not happy. If you have called my father names at lunch, called my mother names at dinner, it go hard though. The night will be hard though. Tomorrow morning may be harder. Let's just make each other happy and enjoy sex.
It's their rights. That's the thing.
Well,
like, you're my wife. It's your right as a wife to give sex to me. And one of the things I always say is that sex should not even be something you are giving. It's not a duty. It's not.
It can be a duty. Just let the man do your duty. And then let him know when you are doing it out of love and when you are doing it out of duty. He will opt for one. Just let him know when you are all over him. When he gets to see a white or a black or a red lingerie before they do, or when he has to untie a wrapper. And all he has to do is just do the thing. I want to go and continue my cooking. There is a difference.
Wow.
But it should be a weapon of unity. A weapon to negotiate the future of your marriage. Because at the end of the day, where a couple starts is where they will end. With each other, alone. That's that's another huge.
I always say that because sometimes women, once they get into marriage and start having children, they make it all about the children. And these children, they will still leave you.
The
and
husband.
They won't even bat an eyelid when they are done, when they have to leave the house or when they have to go about, especially these Gen Z children. They have to do their own thing.
Well, I'm not Gen Z. Me too, I left home now. So I expect my children will leave home.
So, and then when they leave, you are left with yourself. And then if you have not built that
bond with your partner,
when
you're stranded.
You now become strangers in the house.
That's the way it is. If you do not realize that you will end up where you started, your old age, your latter years will be worse than the beginning. Because if your wife is not your friend and your partner, you will feel it. When you get to that junction called Amen Junction. When you get to Amen Junction, everything will end. Every prayer ends with Amen. Everything ends with Amen. When you get to Amen Junction, there could be love waiting and there could be revenge. So you need to choose which. For me, I think the man that filed for divorce after the last child left, that was the Amen Junction. Wow. He had been waiting with that divorce idea as revenge. Wow. So let's just do it right from the beginning.
Why some women also, when they are at that age, they spend their time doing omugo, going to different children instead of staying with their husband.
You do not leave a husband that is your friend to do omugo.
I don't get so.
It is a vote
3
of
months,
no.
6 months, they leave daddy in the house. They are doing omugo, going from one child's house to the other. And I'm like, how does that even work? You left your husband.
The guy stopped being a husband a long time ago. He was a landlord. It is the landlords that are left. The husbands are not left. If you do not let it sink as a man into your head that this woman is your friend and partner for life, you hang out with the boys, you party, you have girlfriends, you also have mistresses that you have rented houses for. Half the year your wife is crying as a loan. In fact, our businesses have grown because she had nothing else to do. Or she has become hypertensive because of the pain you inflict. She has lost her self-esteem. Don't forget that the children are watching.
Yes, they are watching.
So they're just waiting for when they will rescue mom. And they will rescue her. And when they rescue her, you will eat noodles. Cooked by you. Soggy noodles.
Wow. Oh my God. So what would you say is the blueprint for marriage? Why? Is there a blueprint?
Just go into it knowing you want to make it work. Go into it with the person that wants to go where you're going. Go into it knowing that it's an institution instituted by God. Go with God. Work out every day with love. Forgive each other. I always say that when any of my children or cousins bring home a partner, the first question I ask is there something you can do you can't forgive? If there is something that you can't forgive this young man, this young lady, don't marry her. Because everything will be done. It's a lifetime thing.
But you don't know what you can't forgive until it happens.
You must forgive ahead. Until it becomes life-threatening. I think what are the things a man is likely to do? He's going to join a cult. He's going to do money ritual. He's going to beat you. He's going to cheat.
Children outside.
He's going to have children outside. He's going to give you STD. Make the list. And then decide.
Cheat with maybe your best friend, your sister. Those are the extensions of cheating. There are different types of cheating.
No, the cheating is cheating. It is just about how you feel about those who cheated. And now you want to handle it. I was seeing a movie where a man slept with his sister-in-law. And the sister-in-law started blackmailing him. And then he confessed to his wife. And they confronted her together. She was shocked.
Wow.
They confronted her together. We will fight when we get home. But I'm not ceding my territory.
Wow. That's a wise one.
That is what I have preached. Unless, when a marriage becomes life-threatening, step back. Let your partner know that you have options and that you don't want to die before him. But if you are cheated with your friend, do you want your friend to take over your house? Ask yourself.
Because you're ready.
So, just know that you have to be able to forgive your partner everything. Make a list of the things you can't forgive. Discuss with him. Discuss with her. Men, they can't forgive cheating.
They can't cheat.
And I also tell them that, okay, the next woman you are going to marry, she will not cheat. Because this one cheated and didn't bring DNA issues. Maybe the one you marry will bring DNA issues. So, marriage is partnership. It's about seeing the bigger picture. And please, guys, take care of your wives
Yeah, important.
while you're still young. Or the children will rescue her, and then you will have to eat that soggy noodles.
I also know, lastly, that people change. People change. It's they've said that change is a constant thing. So I know that people change. So even in a marriage, especially the long term marriages, I mean the long people who have been in marriages for a longer time, I know that your partner is bound to change
We all
along the
do.
way. So how do you navigate that? Because you can say that, oh, when I married you, you were not like this, or when I married you, you like chicken. All of a sudden, in your 40s now, you say it's only fish, or I'm just using that as an example. But when I married you, you used to be fun. You like to go out. Went everywhere. But now you just want to stay at home.
It's bad change. If you are fun, stay fun. It's bad change. Because I have friends that
Complain of
there's
change.
there's
That you never used to be like this. What happened?
there's this friend of mine and his wife. I admire them from here to Jerusalem because they still club together. My friend is 50. His wife will soon be 50. And when you meet them at events, they don't look like they have children that are all undergraduates. If she's wearing mini, and he's wearing these sharp suits. Sportish, everything is fine. If that is how your husband married you, and that is what he likes, please, can you just improve on it? Don't regress.
Please, exactly.
Don't regress now. If your wife likes you without pot belly, please check the pot belly. Check the pot belly, because you will now complain that she's sleeping with her back to you and she's focusing more on work. We also have complaints too.
Exactly. Yeah, I've heard it. We also have complaints. So people, you have heard it all. To have a successful marriage, you have to keep communication alive, and you also have to get into marriage for the right reasons. And men, please love your wives, unless you'll be eating soggy noodles in your old age, and I'm sure you don't want that. Thank you so much, Ma, for those insightful words. We are so grateful that you came today, and I hope that you will come again when we call.
I will. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself.
So have I. And you will not be living without a gift, because you have richly blessed us today. So we want to give
Thank
something
you.
back in return to you.
Thank you very much.
And this is our gift to you. You may want to open this. Let me help you with that.
Thank you very much.
It's a customized flask.
Oh, this is so lovely.
I hope you drink water. You can take it everywhere, even for your juice or something.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you, News Pop.
So if you have enjoyed the show today like I have, why don't you click the like button and also subscribe so that you can get notifications for our future videos. And we'll be saying bye for now. Say bye, Ma.
Thank you for having me, and bye for now.
The newly upgraded News Pop Studio is now available for use at just a token of 20,000 naira per hour. You can come in with your gadgets, or you can use the already made available gadgets in the studio. You will enjoy yourself, and it is just for 20,000 per hour. Thank you.